Hello, it's Daryl at 10 Foot Truck Good Attitudes Services. Just got back from a construction debris removal. Went good. Actually, was supposed to do the job the day before, but it rained and it was a mess out there, so the customer canceled or moved the job to the day after. So it's nice and sunny today, so it was a little bit drier. Unfortunately, there's a lot of drywall. Most of the debris was like 2x4s, and it was from a remodel job, so there was a lot of 2x4s and a lot of boards and nails and 4x4s and 2x6s and so forth, and typical construction debris. That's not so bad. What really is when you get into drywall, especially since the drywall was sitting outside in the rain. So when I went to go pick it up, and I had to walk from, it wasn't like it was just like a back up to it, I had to walk from around the house. So a lot of it just got all crumbled up and made a big mess. And even if it wasn't wet, it still would have made a mess. Drywall always has that chalky stuff you see. It ends up on the floor. I was gonna bring a tarp, I didn't. One thing about a tarp, when I put the tarp on the floor here, a lot of times it just gets in the way. It's slipping around. And so what I do is I just sweep up. And you always want your broom and your shovel and dustpan. So I'm gonna do this sweeping up right now, but yeah, it sure makes a mess. But it was a good job, and I was a repeat customer. This will be the third job I've done for them. I did another removal, and that was drywall. And then I also did a furniture delivery for them. So it's good to have repeat customers. I don't tend to do a lot of construction debris removals, but when I do, I always do a cleanup after, because I probably have to do a delivery, and so I need this floor cleaned. I can't show up at a delivery or moving job with drywall dust caked on the floor, and then so I'd like to get that cleaned up. But I think I'm going to do some sweeping, and then I'm going to sweep as good as I can, and then I'm going to get a mop, and I don't know if I'll do that tonight or tomorrow. I'll mop it up, and then it should be sunny tomorrow. We'll let it dry out and get ready for the next job that's coming up. The weather's beautiful outside, so it is a nice time to go out and work. It was a couple of days of rain, but now it looks like it's going to be sunny and not too hot, just kind of warm weather. Nice weather. This is the kind of weather I like. But yeah, and another thing about construction debris removal, always bring your tools, because in this case too, there's another thing I decided I was going to bring, because I looked at the picture when the customer sent me a picture. I didn't go do an on-site estimate. They sent me a picture, and so I looked at it, and there was some doors and things, so I kind of looked at the height. There was things in the picture that could kind of judge the height, so that I could see that there was boards and lumber and stuff like that put up against the wall. And what I did is I was looking for something that I knew that the measurements of already, because looking at the picture, it's hard to get exact measurements. So there happened to be a door that was leaning up against the wall, and a typical door is just, they're all about the same height. So I know they're pretty tall. Doors at least about this high. So the boards were standing up taller than the door. They were going quite a bit taller than the door, and they were leaning up against, and they were at an angle. So I could tell that all these boards were probably taller than, this is about, well, it's not quite 10 foot floor here. It goes about 9-11, and there's a door that closes, so you don't have the full 10 foot because of the door. So I can't put 10 foot boards. I'd have to cut them, and these boards look like they were 12 foot. So I decided, well, I'm just going to go ahead and bring my saws, my sawzall, my reciprocal saw, and all my tools, just in case I have to take things apart. And I'm glad I did, because I had to saw a bunch of these the siding and these long boards that were way too long to even angle them in the truck. So it's always good to have those extra tools, because I'd have to come back home, and there's no way I could have put that in here. It's not a pickup truck. You have to close the back door, so whatever doesn't fit at an angle, because you can angle things like a 10 foot board, you can angle it like this. When you get to 12 foots and stuff, And you're not going to be able to get it from that angle there. And you can't drive around with the door, a big wide door open like that. You have to have that closed. Now, a pickup truck, you could probably get a certain amount out of the back of the truck, and then you can put depending on the state and county. I know that some you have to put a flag on at least you used to. I haven't transported stuff in a pickup truck in a while, but you can kind of let things hang out the back of a pickup truck, where the door has to shut. So I was able to do that by cutting those boards and having those saws. And of course I got those saws free on a junk removal job. So that helps to have those tools. And then of course you want a shovel, a dustpan, and a broom. Preferably a bigger size broom than that one, but that's the only broom I had. My roofing broom, it just deteriorated. I got that one free. I should have brought another thing I should have brought is a wheelbarrow or a garbage can, because when I was picking up all the drywall, it was falling apart all over the place. I didn't have any contractor bags. Luckily, they had, there was a lot of insulation they put into contractor bags. So I was able to stuff those down and then put the drywall on top. And because trying to drag little pieces of drywall, I didn't have, and that was my mistake. I should have brought a garbage can and something I could scoop that stuff into and then use a dolly. So it took a little bit longer than I thought. And it was a little bit heavier than I thought. That's the thing about drywall, and especially when it got wet, and any kind of construction debris is going to be heavier than just your regular furniture, pickup, couch, pickup, or household goods. So you always have to account for that when you're doing construction debris removal, especially if it's drywall, roofing material. These are materials that are really heavy. Most of the lumber is, I mean, if it's like sheeting, the sheeting, the plywood, real thick 1/4 inch plywood, there was some of that in there. There was also some press wood, which is much, the wood that's pressed like glue. It's pressed wood with glue. That can be heavy, and it was also wet too, so that made it heavier. But in general, when you're doing these construction debris removal, unless it's just a bunch of 2x4s, but you get into sheeting, plywood, and then drywall, and then roofing material. Those all are. And then if you get into like any kind of concrete or something, I don't even do concrete. I've done one job. I did a concrete job. I know I'll never do that again. It's too heavy. It's just not convenient for this kind of truck. But like plywood and all that, that's fine. But it can be very, very heavy. In fact, I did a plywood or flooring. The plywood for flooring, subflooring. I did a delivery pallet of that. I can't remember how many was in the pallet, but that was like 3,000 pounds. That's how much weight, a significant amount of subfloor would be. So if you're dealing with subfloor, and of course drywall, we all know it's heavy. So you want to account for that when you're doing your estimates for the transfer fee, the tonnage fee, which around here it's 126 a ton. So you want to make sure you have that cost covered. And it's not just going to be your standard household goods load. It's going to be heavier. Just right off the bat, it's going to be heavier because of the materials. So that comes into account. So when you're doing those, but I tend to not do as many. I just do them once in a while. Mostly I'm doing household goods and storage cleanouts, but occasionally I do that. This truck, really, tell you the truth, I mean, to do construction debris removal, if that's all you're going to do, or if you have a contractor that's going to hire you a lot to do that, or like someone who does remodel, and they might use someone who on a consistent basis. I would not, me personally, I probably wouldn't be using this truck. I would want a trailer, pickup truck and a trailer. I think those would be better, or a really beat up van. Since I have this wood floor, it just causes problems. And I don't really I want to keep this truck semi-clean for my deliveries and for my moving. So that's just me. and I tend to, and it is a tougher job. That's another thing. It's much more physically, it's more physically extreme compared to like moving furniture or unless you're going up a lot of stairs. And I gotta, damn these slivers. It's like everywhere I go, there's wood slivers. This thing got slivers. Like that's another thing when you're doing this kind of thing. You have gloves, and even with gloves, you get these damn slivers. So yeah, what was I saying about construction debris removal? I know the weight, and there was something else. Oh, the physical part of it. It's a lot more when you're unloading your trucks at the dump. It's not as easy because there's so many pieces and small and the nails everywhere, and it's much more physically demanding when you're unloading a whole truck full of construction debris, as opposed to like if you're unloading furniture, you can just throw the dresser out, the couch, cushions, chairs, whatever, just go out. It's really simple. It's not, I mean, they can be heavy, but it's much more, unloading is quicker and faster. You got a bunch of broken up boards and nails and smashed up drywall and so forth. It really is a lot longer of an unload. So that would be another thing if you're going to do, me personally, if I was going to do construction debris removal more often than I do now, I would probably want a dump trailer, something where you can, a hydraulic dump trailer, something where you can, just back up and dump it out. I see people doing it all the time. Unless you want to do, hand unload it, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but it is going to be much more difficult physically. That's what my 2 cents on construction debris removal. That's my tips on that to just be aware of when you're doing it. But the main thing is make sure you're gonna know your weight, overcompensate on the construction delivery weights, because the weight's definitely gonna be a lot more construction debris removal than your average household goods removal. So that's about it. I'm gonna get back cleaning here, sweeping this up, and trying to pull the sliver out of my hand. And another thing too, another tip I have for doing construction debris removal, I have steel toe boots. Of course, you should probably have steel toe boots if you're doing this kind of physical labor, but especially when you're doing construction debris removal. There's so many nails. I mean, you're stepping all over nails, and you want a good protection on the bottom. You don't want just your like these shoes here, like these would not work. I have special shoes I wear when I go to those type of jobs. They're boots, and with steel toe, and then they have protection on the underside of the shoe, so nails can't go through. You want a really thick boot for that. You don't want your nails sticking in your feet. And wear solid, thick, construction pants, because the nails will be rubbing up, and want to be careful. And wear long sleeves. I wear long sleeves and gloves. Gloves, definitely have gloves on. And if you have a mask if it's like, I didn't have one because I was outdoors, but a lot of this dust can get in your nose and stuff. It's irritating. So that's important too. It's a lot different than all these type of removals are different. They each have different things you got to be aware of. You want these dollies, of course, for appliance removal and stuff like that. With a construction debris removal, you probably want a wheelbarrow, which I don't have, or like a junk squad. He uses a tarp and loads stuff on tarp and pull the tarp. And that's what I was mad at myself for not bringing my tarp, because I thought about junk squad and how he uses it. He'll just pile all the wood and all the drywall on the tarp and then just drag it. So that works too. And then putting a tarp on the bottom. So having a tarp and for that, and a wheelbarrow or a garbage can, good sized garbage can, and put all that stuff, all the broken drywall and all that, and it makes it easier to carry when you're having a long carry. So those things you think about, you learn as you go. I'm still learning and still thinking about different things I could do to make it easier and more efficient. And that's the name of the game. If you want to make more money, you make your job more efficient and have the right tools. This is Daryl with 10 Foot Truck Good Attitudes Services. Have a great day. Hope you have a great weekend, and you're getting lots of jobs. I'm hoping to get some more jobs coming up soon, real soon here. I got to put up some more ads tonight and see what I can get. All right, have a great day.